Alright, hello everyone. So, I did not, let me just make sure I have the right stream up here. Alright, great. So I did not end up posting the decks on Facebook. So as a stopgap for right now, I'm just gonna put them in a Google Sheet. I've started putting them in, and I'll explain how to use it. So, let's see if I can do this here. Anyone can view. Copy link. Alright. So I've got a spreadsheet, and what you can do is there's an import code, and you can copy the import code, and then if you go to an open deck list and click on the import button, then you'll import it. And I'm going to work on a better way of implementing this. Here, let me also just see if I can add it to the Go Live. Or I'm not sure. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But basically, I'll be updating this spreadsheet with my deck lists as I make them, and I'll also be filling it out with the other deck lists. These are the ones that I've been doing on stream the past couple of times. Let's see, Tom's human token deck. And so what I'm going to do is I'll be tossing deck lists into this document so that people can easily access them. And I'll see if there's a better way to get them out there. But in the meantime, I just want you all to be able to follow along if you'd like. Let me see if I have this here. All right. Great. So, aside from that, I'm just going to be playing some games. Again, it's pretty standard. If you want to play against me, you can just send me a challenge. And people will be getting some gems for every game, for the first game they play against me. It looks like someone has already sent me a challenge. Great. And I'll be keeping an eye out in chat, so feel free to ask questions, or if there's something that you'd like to do, or would like to see me do, then just send it in the chat, and I'll address it. So it looks like we're going to be playing some Dark Draft as our first game. Now, I would also like to say that I'm going to be streaming on the same days at the same start times, but I'm going to reduce the stream to 1 hour, so it'll be ending at 9 instead of 10 at the time that I've been ending usually. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe the times will change again later in the future, but for now, it's just going to be 8 to 9, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Alright, so in this pack, now I think there's two really strong loyalty cards here. Draka is a great card if you're already heavy in wilds, and Murderous Necromancer is a great evil card. The loyalty 2 is quite strong. It gives you a champion that if the opponent doesn't remove it, you can keep making more zombie tokens, and also when you play it you get 3 zombies. So it's a very strong card standalone if you can get the loyalty 2, because if your opponent doesn't get rid of this, it'll just start taking control of the board by breaking one of their champions every turn. And also the fact that you get 3 zombies right away when you play it, if you have loyalty 2, means that it's going to be hard to remove this and the zombies with 1 card. So, but I don't like to take loyalty 2s early. Some people do. Some people like to just dive right into a color, but I usually will only do that if the card I think has standalone potential, like a Juggernaut. And I don't feel like either of these cards are exciting enough for that. So I think Guilt Demon is the easiest pick here. It's a 0 cost ambush, so I think I've mentioned this before. Guilt Demon is a pretty reasonable card in almost every deck. It's difficult to block because it has airborne, and it can block champions that are difficult to block. So frequently this can just be a 0 cost, don't take damage from this attack. And also the fact that it has ambush and blitz means that you can always play it on your turn or your opponent's turn and it'll do something. and it can banish annoying cards out of the discard pile. So I always want to have some way to interact with the opponent's discard pile in my deck at the beginning of in limited, like in Dark Draft. In Constructed, sometimes I'll just ignore it and try and make a deck that beats down my opponent quickly enough that I don't actually care about what they're doing with their discard pile. And then there are these 4 other cards that my opponent will look at. I'm guessing they're going to take both of these evil cards, Murderous Necromancer and Army of the Apocalypse, because I'll usually take a Loyalty 2 with a card of the same color if I think that card is also reasonable. So we can expect our opponent to go into evil here. Now, from this pack, it's a little tough because I don't think any of these cards are strong on their own. I don't really want to take Insurgency without support for it. It is intended to be played with a lot of human tokens. And the High King, you want a lot of good cards because you really want to have the Blitz for this so you can banish your champion the turn you play it. But I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of good cards. Pyrosaur is a wild card that can really punish token champions. So it's very good against tokens. And if you can attack with it with Loyalty 2, it can deal 4 damage to them before they get a chance to react. So it's a great card in a deck with a lot of wild cards. But the 3 health means that sometimes it'll just be beaten by a 0 cost card. And Psionic Assault is also a reasonable card. It makes the opponent discard 2, and whenever you play a Sage card, you get it back. This card can be really backbreaking, but you really need to be ahead. So I think the safe option is probably going to be Psionic Assault and one of these Loyalty 2s. Let's see what I passed. I don't think my opponent's going to take Draka, so I should probably just go Psionic Assault Pyrosaur, or maybe High King Psionic Assault. I mean, Banishing might be very strong with this type of deck. So the real question is, do I want to go into good or wild? I think I'm going to go wild. I think wild's a very safe color to go into, usually. So there's usually wild cards that you want in each pack. And also, this Pyrosaur, even if we don't get the Loyalty 2, there will be times where it's just very good. So even if we don't have Loyalty 2 for this, we can play it and deal 2 damage to each of the opposing champions. And if the opponent just played a Muse and a Thought Plucker or something like that, then this card will put in some work for us. So I am going to take that. Alright, so from this next pack, I think this pack is very good. I am pretty excited about all of these cards. I think Fires of Rebellion is just a very good card. It being able to deal 7 damage to the opponent. It's similar to Flame Strike, but also if you hit a champion with it, then you draw a card. So this is a much safer card to take for removing champions as opposed to Flame Strike. You don't ever want to use that on a champion. Lash, giving champions breakthrough for 0 is very good. If your opponent blocks with something, then you can turn your big blocked champion into a champion that they have to spend their gold on to remove right away. So Lash is a very great card for that reason. Then Inheritance of the Meek. I really like cards that can clear the board off turn, and this one will almost always clear the board off turn. It's very nice to be able to choose that second option on your opponent's turn if you need to, and you can. The downside of them drawing a card is not irrelevant, but also it doesn't put more stuff on the board. So it's very good against. I would actually say Inheritance of the Meek is better against better players where they will actually have a full grip, a lot of cards in their hand. Whereas when people run low on cards, this card is a lot weaker versus them. But usually people that have played for a long time put a lot of effort into not running low on cards in hand. So then this drawback becomes not as meaningful. I think we're going to take the Fires of Rebellion or the Lash here. Probably the Lash. I think it's very useful to have cards like that. So we're going to take that. That's fair. Yeah, Lash is a very, very good card. I think also people tend to, with cards like Lash, when you completely ruin your opponent's day with Lash, or when your day gets ruined by Lash, you notice how strong it is, but people don't remember the times where they have Lash in their hand or their opponent has Lash in their hand and it doesn't do anything. So the main downside to Lash is you can't use it to draw 2 cards, and also the 1 damage to the champion is relevant. So sometimes you'll attack with the T-Rex and lash it, your opponent will block, and then you'll lash your T-Rex and then they will Drain Essence it. That's just an example, but I would usually rather have Rage than Lash, for example. Yeah. Alright. So I'm going to take Citadel Scholar here. I think that we don't have any 0-cost recycles, so it's a very nice pickup. And then Knight of Shadows and Mythic Monster are both good. I definitely want to take one of those two. I don't want to take the Bodyguard because I don't have any other good cards to go with it. The question is, do I want a gigantic green card that just draws me a card, or do I want a mid-sized one that's a threat still? Can't block things as well, but making the opponent discard a card is relevant. I think I'm probably going to go with the Knight of Shadows. It synergizes with the Psionic Assault quite well, and I usually would rather have this in my hand than a Mythic Monster, all other things being equal. So I'm going to take the Knight of Shadows. Yeah, you can get it back. There are definitely times where the correct play is to lash something and then recall it and lash it again in the same turn. Alright, so from here, I think the pick is going to be Thought Plucker. I really like having multiple ways to make my opponent discard cards in the same deck, and we have a lot of them right now. Steel Golem is also very strong, as is Urgent Messengers, but I'm just going to go with the stacking together the making the opponent discard card effects. It's also just a good card on its own. Thought Plucker and Knight of Shadows are both solid cards, regardless of your deck composition, because they are champions that draw you a card on the tribute. So they replace themselves, and they're a good way to spend your gold. Alright, so from here, I think we are going to take the Fire Shaman. We're going to try and swing it mostly wild. We want to take the wild cards. And I also appear to have enough Sage to take the Ice Drake. So we're going to be doing something a little risky here, because we currently don't have any draw twos. So reset would also be reasonable, but I'm going to try and play green and Sage as loyalty 2s. We do have the Psionic Assault, which will help us get Sage loyalty 2s. An Ice Drake usually isn't that bad to play without loyalty 2, because a 6/8 ambush airborne can be relevant in just attacking your opponent when they're low on health. So we're going to try and make this a tempo deck where we continue to put our opponent on the back foot and force them to react to us and make them discard cards. So we're not going to be the reactive deck. We're going to be making plays that our opponent has to deal with, and also just doing lots of damage to make our unblockable and airborne and direct damage all put our opponent in a situation where they have to make worse plays so that they don't lose more health. We're going to take the Brachiosaurus here. Brachiosaurus is a very good card. If you can support it, you can think of this like a 0-cost because it gives you another gold, but you have to have another way to spend your gold in your hand. I think the main weakness to Brachiosaurus is actually clearing the board. So if you play Brachiosaurus and then your opponent calls your bluff, usually you'll have to play another Wiles 1-cost card that puts something on the board, and you have to overextend in order to take advantage. So from here, I think that Erratic Research, Vanishing, and Go Wild are all great cards in this deck, which is tough because I would really love to take all 3 of them. If you don't have any draw 2s, be aggressive. I always see people say stuff like that in the Star Realms Discord when they talk about certain sets and arenas. Alright, I'm kind of leaning towards Erratic Research and Vanishing because I want those draw 2s. Go Wild would be very nice to have in this deck because it's frequently going to be 4 damage or cycle for 0. So I also just want to take all 3 of them. I like how Erratic Research, we're frequently going to want to play a draw 2 from our hand, and we're really starved for draw 2s right now. I think it might have to be Vanishing plus Erratic Research for that reason. I mean, Vanishing is also just a good card for aggressive decks, and it's especially good in Limited, where you're very likely to return something to hand that doesn't really do anything the turn that you play it. I'm just gonna take both of these. Normally I would take the Go Wild. It's very, very good for decks that want to be aggressive, but I really need more draw two effects. I don't want to lose the game from the first turn because I can't do that. Yeah, Go Wild. It's just good in general. Alright, another tough pick here. I'm not sure what our opponent is doing. Unfortunately, if they're evil, then Vax is going to be very good for them, but we don't really have a solid card to pass, because if we take the Raxa, then they're just going to take Gudgeon Kong, or pretty much all five of these are reasonable cards in any deck. I think it's going to be Kong. Gudgeon is also nice for us, but I'm just going to take the cards that are on color, because we're going to starve ourselves for loyalties with Sage and Green, and Wild, I mean. So I'm going to take the Kong. Goes very well with the Lash, and maybe we'll pick up a Hurricane. We haven't seen one yet. Or a Dracus Fire. We can look and try and guess what our opponent is taking. So from this pack, for example, what inheritance, like I would assume that our opponent has Inheritance of the Meek in their deck. So from here, I'm trying to figure out if I can play Rift Summoner in this deck. We don't have any small champions to break with Rift Summoner, so I don't think it's going to work. If I have two cards that make tokens, for example, then Rift Summoner I think is totally reasonable. But here I'm just going to take Haste Retreat and Sea Hydra. I haven't seen any cards that bounce, like I guess Vanishing, but I haven't seen a Sea Titan or an Erase, and those cards tend to be picked highly, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of those is in our opponent's deck. I'm just going to take both of these. I don't want to take the Thunderous. Alright. Triceratops or Consume. They're both good cards. They're both good cards. Again, I think the Consume is probably better for our deck, since we don't have very many zeros, and we don't have very many ways to deal small amounts of damage to deal with things like Muse. Plus, Consume is a good answer against our Thought Plucker, Fire Shaman, Fire Sword, Guilt Demon, so I'm just going to take the Consume here, even though I would like to have the Triceratops. Hey, hello Gash. Alright, let's see. Alright, so for people who just arrived, I'm just gonna repost it. I'm currently, I don't have a let me just see if I can grab it right here. I didn't end up putting the decks on Facebook like I said I was going to, but I have a Google spreadsheet which I just added a couple in right now. But you can just take, these are some of the deck lists that I've posted that I've used on stream, and to use them you just go to the import code column and you copy that, and then you open up the app and you click import, and it'll just use that. It'll just paste the deck in for you right away. So if you play on the computer or on your mobile device, just open that up on that and you can. Yeah, it's very long, so I don't like to post them in the chat. I would like to have there be a better way to do it, but it was implemented at some point, and might as well keep the feature there so people can share decks in the meantime. But for now, I'm going to use that, and we'll see if we want to add another feature in, an easier way to share decks in the future. Alright, so from here, I think War Machine and Inner Demon is the clear pick. Rabble Rouser and Soul Hunter aren't very useful for us, and we have three of the discarded cards, so I don't actually think it's possible for our opponent to make us discard Soul Hunter. Yeah, right now in the when there's tournaments, you can copy constructed decks that people played in the tournament. Alright, so Keeper of Secrets is very good in our deck. I don't know if it'll be good in our opponent's deck. Whereas Palace Guard, thing is, we haven't seen Amnesia or Heinous Feast, so our opponent probably has, or Grave Demon. Opponent probably has some kind of discard pile interaction. It's not like we're doing anything super crazy. We have this Sonic Assault and Lash. So it wouldn't be too bad to pass this up. I think in general, Keeper of Secrets is stronger for us than Palace Guard, just because it recycles when we play any of our Sage cards, and we do have quite a few Sage 1-cost cards, and it helps us with our loyalties, whereas Palace Guard is, it's going to be a good card. It's going to banish something and give a body, but it's not going to be crazy in terms of gaining us value over and over again. I think I'm going to go with the Keeper of Secrets here. I think we want more card advantage, more ways to draw cards. Yeah. Well, the app was originally intended to be to really focus on the tournament side of things, but we are going to be launching tournaments probably starting next week. Will be when there are weekly tournaments. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact details of the tournament structure, but it'll be more of a regular thing that anybody can jump into, so that we can have people trying it out, get feedback about that, and also let the meta develop a little bit more. I mean, in Constructed right now, people are just kind of splashing a bunch of cards that they like into their deck, and that's the game plan. So it'll be interesting to see what people bring. All right, so I'm wondering if our opponent is not actually heavy evil like I initially predicted, because they passed this Xanos. So I'm going to assume that they're not heavy evil. I'm going to take this Crystal Golem and Ceasefire. They may have just gotten a much crazier evil card like Angel of Death. From here, I'm going to take the Feeding Frenzy. Again, I usually take cards that are very good for my deck over cards that... Succubus is a card that might be very good for our opponent's deck, but I don't know. I don't think they're doing anything that we really want Succubus for. Really like Feeding Frenzy. It's a very safe card. There's usually going to be a way that you can break random big champions. You know, we can use a Pyrosaur or a Lash or Fire Shaman to do a little bit of damage to something, and then Feeding Frenzy finishes it off. It's very nice for wild decks like this, Wild Sage, that doesn't have very much hard you remove anythings. So Feeding Frenzy is going to be one of our remove anythings. Currently we just have Feeding Frenzy and Inner Demon, so we're light on remove anythings. We also have no board clears. That's going to be a major weakness of our deck if we don't find a way to fix that. So we are looking for a card that breaks or banishes everything. I'm going to take this Smash and Burn, and I can't really play either of those other two cards, so it's going to be Justice Prevails, which is fine. All right. Right, but also for people that are joining recently, I'm going to be reducing the stream time. It's going to end at 9 now instead of 10, but I'll be streaming on the same days, just because I just want to move the time around, because 10 has been a little bit later for me. But maybe what we can do is also run some kind of event on a monthly basis. Let's see what else. From this pack, I mean, I wonder if we can play Scaros. Look at my deck here. Alright, so we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can play Scaros. Scaros for 2 is fine. Scaros for 3 is very good. Gold Dragon's also... Oh, you know what? We need this. I'm silly. I need the Apocalypse. Really need some way to clear the board in our deck. At least one. Alright. And then from here... I'm glad... If Marcus was in my pack, I might take it. Because we had... If it was in my 5 pack, because we have 3 ways to make our 5 discard. But I'm happy to have it go to the discard pile. I think for here, it's just Rampaging or Brand, just the +3 attack. You can think of it like a combat trick. I'm usually going to, you know, use it to get 3 more damage in. It's going to be like a Fireball my opponent plus put a 2/5 into play, or a 5/5 ambush. That turns into a 2/5 on my turn. So it's perfectly fine in our deck. There's a Discord. I can't easily pull it up right now, but I can probably find it after this game. I mean, not after this game, but at the end of the stream, I'll pull it up and post it. All right, what do we want from here? Some good cards. I want to pass the Fire Spirit. I don't super want it in my deck. I'm considering Flame Spike and Ancient Chant right now. I think they're both great cards. Usually, I really want Ancient Chant in this deck. There's not, but I have plenty of ways to draw 2 cards, so I should take the Flame Spike. Flame Spike's also very good against me with Guilt Demon, Thought Plucker, Fire Shaman, and possibly Citadel Scholar as cards that Flame Spike will be good against. Yeah, a lot of people in the Epic Discord tend to talk more about the meta and about very, very specific nuances, I've noticed. It's not so much general chat, but there are some people that are very active there, and they talk about some specific brew or interaction they're trying out. Let's try. So from this pack, I'm just seeing if Time Walker can actually do anything in our deck. We don't have that many crazy things to return to hand, but it might still be worth it. Warrior Golem's quite nice. It's probably Memory Spirit over Time Walker, since Memory Spirit, there's a lot of events that cost 0 in our deck. I almost always want to get back a 0 cost event with Memory Spirit, because you can play Memory Spirit and the event you get back in the same turn. So I value that a lot, as opposed to returning a 1 cost event and then having to do it on a later turn. I mean, Ceasefire is also a good card to keep using, since it's very good against players that kind of know what they're doing. I'm going to take both of those. Oh yeah. Yeah, Discord's kind of a weird system, but I just figured it out because I feel like you have to, just in general. Everyone uses Discord for games these days. Alright, I'm going to hold on to Sonic Assault and Ceasefire. Sonic Assault will be the play that we make if our opponent... Ceasefire is just generally a very good card if you want to draw 2. So if you're not at 7 cards in hand, it's a great card to have in your hand. If the opponent plays a Blitz Champion right now and doesn't attack, which is something I frequently do, then Ceasefire will be amazing. But it loses its value against worse players, I should say. Or maybe not worse players, but players that aren't playing around if they just attack blindly. Which is, you know, if they play a White Knight, and then, like right here, the Ceasefire is great because worst case scenario, the opponent can't really play a Blitz Champion and attack me. So it would be fine here. I'm just trying to decide if I want to do that or just Warrior Golem. Let's do it. I'm going to Ceasefire. Normally, it's very rare that I play a card on my opponent's turn when they pass to me. Oh, I usually mulligan very aggressively. So the reason I mulligan a lot is because usually the health loss is minor in the grand scheme of things. So I usually mulligan very aggressively for what I really want to have in my hand right now. And in this case, let's see what I mulliganed. So I wonder if it says it. I'm not actually sure if it says here. Anyway, I mulliganed Sea Hydra, which I don't consider to be a card that is very useful in my opening hand. Where is it? Anyway, I mulliganed a couple of cards that basically don't see Hydra, and I mulligan some cards that draw 2 cards, basically, because I have a really good draw 2 in my hand already. So I don't want more than one draw 2 in my hand. I want a draw 2, an off-turn play, so I'm going second. So I want to draw 2, an off-turn play, and 0-cost way that interacts. And if I have all of those, then I'll want a 1-cost card that I can play on my turn for value. And all right, I'm gonna start my turn. I decided to, I'm gonna probably not reveal the Thought Plucker. Thought Plucker's probably better to reveal than, well, I'm gonna reveal the Hasty Retreat. The reason, I'm trying to decide here, the reason that I'm not revealing the Thought Plucker is because if our opponent has an answer for this Warrior Golem, they'll use it. So something that deals 2 damage, for example. But if I show the Thought Plucker, they might hold on to it, and I don't want them to do that. So I want them to use whatever answer they have on this Warrior Golem. One of the reasons I decided to play the Ceasefire there was because I had the Warrior Golem in hand. So when this goes to my discard pile, I recycle. So if I just played this, if I started my turn, played and attacked, and then they got rid of it, I wouldn't get to recycle. But now, if it does go to my discard pile, I can recycle that plus the Ceasefire. So, very nice here. If I was going first, yeah, I probably would keep Sea Hydra. If I was going first, then I would have kept probably Ceasefire, Sonic Assault, and Sea Hydra, Sonic Assault, Ceasefire. Yeah, so here I get to recycle, which isn't that bad considering they used a card to remove it plus get a demon token. So it's actually pretty reasonable for us. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good play to make, so I'm just going to pass to them. But we have 7 cards in hand, they have 5. Yeah, we're just going to take 4 here. And I'm just going to have to start my turn. I could do something a little, like, pretty greedy. Like, play Thought Plucker, block that, Hasty Retreat it, but I'm not going to. It wouldn't be super crazy for me to do that. Alright, Night of Shadows is a great play here. Unfortunately, we're at 8 cards in hand. So hopefully, our opponent plays something that encourages us to play this Consume. That's what we want. You're about to pluck him? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, our opponent made the right play here. I passed my gold up, they started their turn. And then they attacked with this demon token, and then passed. There's really no reason to add more stuff. So I was correct that they took this Murderous Necromancer in the first pack. So they are in a heavy evil plan, probably. So I'm just gonna pass, and we'll see what happens. I spent my gold, so BMC Fluff could start their turn and not spend their gold, but then to make me discard a card. But I'll gladly spend a card to make them not have a gold. Alright, and our opponent did end up playing a Watchful Gargoyle, so that's good for us because we can spend one of our cards in hand to get rid of it. And we are going to be discarding one anyway. So usually in this scenario, I mean, playing a Watchful Gargoyle there is perfectly fine. Yeah. Yeah, consuming the Watchful Gargoyle. Doesn't make too much sense, I guess, to drain the essence of a... I don't know if gargoyles, what the methodology behind gargoyles are, if they're really alive. This would be a great turn for Go Wild. Oh well, I'm going to take 4. Night of Shadows is a card that you kind of have to get rid of because it just deals 9 every turn. But usually you can... the 4 health means that it just dies to so many things. Hands from Below, Spike Trap, Lightning Strike are all 0-cost ways to get rid of it. And then, alright, well. What if they're just going to take 9 here? what we would do on our turn. I am kind of thinking of spending a card just to do something. But I'm just going to start my turn. Big McFluff. I'm just going to start my turn. Yeah, Big McFluff would be... Maybe that's what it was supposed to be. Maybe this person really likes fluff so much they're going to be McFluff. Alright, and there's Lightning Strike. That was one of the cards I was talking about. Alright. So I am probably just going to Inner Demon that White Dragon. Usually if I'm at 8 cards in hand, I'm just going to spend my gold. Even though it's a pretty weak play. The thing is, this Inner Demon is effectively also drawing me a card because I'm not discarding a card. B. McFluff. B.E. McFluff was taken, so they just took the shorter version. Alright, they're just going to draw 2. Yep, and they also took the army. So these are the 2 cards they took from the first pack. So, honestly, a lot of Dark Draft, in my opinion, is thinking about what your opponent is going to take in the first couple of picks. And seeing if you can guess what color plan they're going to go on. It does look like we're up against a pretty good epic play. They have been pretty conservative about spending their gold. I think that's why at higher levels, 0-cost cards tend to be especially good, is because people spend their gold less. So there's more turns where they just pass and draw a card, and more cards you have in hand, the stronger 0-cost cards are. Alright, I'm just going to play that. That's quite nice. I think we're just going to drop down the Thought Plucker. Yeah, we are. Maybe it's also the license plate. Yeah, that's true. McFluff. Maybe McFluff was already taken. And so is a McFluff. Alright. What's interesting here is I actually think Avenger, well, I guess it's not that good. We probably have an answer to this when I attack with it. Now, one thing about this deck is the only Punisher that we really have is Rampaging Worm. I mean, War Machine's also reasonable, but it's a little difficult to swing. Alright. Yeah, for sure. No, I think Dark Draft is probably the most interesting format in terms of gameplay because, oh, we're gonna Dark Assassin. Gudgeon Medusa. Alright. Huh. Alright. Here's the game plan. We're going to play this first. This is going to have us recycle. And I don't think I have anything that cares. I don't. So I'm just going to toss. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to be tossing all of them. Alright, and then I'm going to play this Flame Spike here. Recycling to kill that Dark Assassin. The reason I played this first is because the recycle is going to have a draw card. And I'm playing my recycles first in case I draw something that changes my game plan. I didn't. So then I'm going to play this Brachiosaurus. Oh wait, that was a mistake. Oh well, I didn't mean to play that. But it's actually fine. We're going to lash that and Feeding Frenzy it to break it forever. And then I'll spend my green gold to recall this lash. It's true, yeah. In Limited, you get to see things like play Murderous Necromancer on my turn, making 3 zombies. On your turn, play the Risen, giving Murderous Necromancer Blitz to use it to break your champion on your turn. Which you don't get to see. In Constructed, really. Alright, there's the Palace Guard. Alright. Kind of want to just Sonic Assault here over Crystal Golem. while they haven't dropped Gudgeon yet. So I'm just going to do that now. Let me see what they discard. We know that 2 of these are Murderous Necromancer Gudgeon, so if they want to keep Murderous Necromancer, not Murderous Necromancer, Medusa. So if they want to keep Medusa up, which is this card, they need 2 other evil cards. So they probably have to hold on to Medusa and Gudgeon and the 3rd evil card in their hand. Alright, they're going to Amnesia. So that means they probably have to discard their other 2 cards that aren't Medusa, Gudgeon, and their 3rd evil card. But we'll see. Alright, we're going to start our turn. They're going to discard 2 here. They also don't have a 0-cost card that deals 3 damage in their hand. Alright, maybe they have other evil cards besides... It's interesting they would discard the Gudgeon. Usually when I go down to that few cards in hand, I actually find the Gudgeon to be really helpful because it draws you 2 and you actually want to play it on your turn. Anyway. Alright, I am going to probably just play this Crystal Column. I don't know, I mean, they have Medusa. They probably don't have a good off-turn play. They probably really want a Medusa right now, so I'm just going to play this and not the Medusa if they want a Medusa. I mean, see, I'm current with physical sets. There's one physical set that isn't in the app. It's currently being added right now. There's also some sets that are reaching physical quite soon, and they will be being added to the app as well. Alright, now the real question is, do I want to draw 2 right now? We got Army the Apocalypse back. They're going to army all of these into play. What do I have that banishes discard piles? Just Guilt Demon, pretty much. 3. It's not great. 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, we need to draw 2. We're going to draw 2 right now. I'm going to play around the fact that they're probably going to army the Apocalypse. And then just, what would be really scary to have enter play? I guess Lord of the Arena is the worst one. Maybe Murderous Necromancer or Dark Assassin or Triceratops. What do we want to get rid of? I guess I can hasty retreat the Lord of the Arena. So that'll be the plan for that. Or block it with Crystal Column. So I should probably get rid of one of these cards that needs to be answered. Just because we don't have a Apocalypse in hand. Apocalypse might be doable if we just draw 2 next turn. Either way, I'm going to banish something. We're going to play Army the Apocalypse probably quite soon. What do we have that answers those? Not really a whole lot, honestly. I think we used all of those answers. Alright, well, I'll just get rid of one of these 2. Probably the Murderous Necromancer. Yep. Alright, no, let's pass. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even just the base set of the physical game is good. We're releasing very soon I mean, I guess it'll still end up being another half a year at least, but we are going to be releasing a physical set for that is geared towards beginners called Epic Duels, which only has 4 keywords in it. Probably once that gets released, if not earlier, we will be adding it to the app, and that'll just be the, here comes the Army of the Apocalypse. Alright. We get our Crystal Golem back, actually, so I don't know if this is necessarily bad for us. We get to draw 2 cards when they attack. If I was them, I would just pass here. Alright, so we're going to... Oh, we can't Ice Drake them because they are untargetable. Didn't even realize that. Should have gotten rid of the Gudgeon. Alright, that's fine. Ooh, we can Lash it. Yeah, let's do that. Lash the Gudgeon. And then Ice Drake them. Well, could also draw 2 Recycle Lash, which is also pretty good. I really like recycling here because we don't have that many cards in hand. But also Ice Draking them could be very good later. It doesn't need to be right now. So I'm just gonna, I'll just Erratic Research them. I should have just done this earlier when they attacked, but it's fine. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have any evasive champions, really, so we can't just attack them and, you know, throw it in their face. Like, I just want to pass here. Don't even want to do anything, really. And I could attack with this Citadel Scholar. I kind of need to get rid of that Dark Assassin. It's really the only thing that they have that's super threatening, is that Dark Assassin. We also don't have another Sage card for this Ice Drake, so I'm probably going to need to draw another card to get that card. So I'm just going to attack with this Crystal Golem and then crack it. Yeah, Army of the Apocalypse, just for anyone who doesn't know the card, returns all champions from all discard piles to play. So the biggest advantage, this card is really good in the late game if you can banish your opponent's discard pile. You banish your discard pile and then you play it and you get all of your stuff back, which is what they did. And it just shoved this big board onto the board. I was kind of hoping to get an Apocalypse. Maybe I'll get it right here. It did. Alright, well, let's just do that. It's no reason to get carried away here. Whatever blocks this, I'll banish with Keeper of Secrets, and then I'm going to Apocalypse and just break everything. It's a very minor, very minor bonus here, but could also Hasty Retreat, I guess, get this back to my hand. But I like having Hasty Retreat. It's a nice card to have. Yeah, we'll just hold on to the Hasty Retreat, I think. Alright, we're going to banish that. Watchful Gargoyle. I'll play this Apocalypse, break all champions. And then I'll just pass to them, see what they want to do. If they make us discard 2. Yeah, you don't get to draw a card if it's unblocked. You only draw a card if it's unblocked, if it's the opponent's turn. I saw this really good play in Worlds, which I didn't even see. It was, they played they group attacked with Dark Knight and Muse, and then their opponent played an ambush blocker, and then they Hasty Retreated their Dark Knight so that their Muse would not be able to be blocked by the attack, since it was airborne. It was really, really interesting. Alright, I'm going to play this Guilt Demon. We're going to, well, I mean, honestly, kind of just want to let them, well, they can draw a card. It's fine. Just get rid of that. And let's get rid of this. Probably Lord of the Arena would be the most annoying thing for them to final task, so I'll get rid of that. Yes, the attack is still blocked. Pretty much if a blocker was declared during blocks, it's blocked. So you can block with Crystal Golem and then break it, and then they lash their thing, and then you can whatever it's called. Alright. So yeah, we're just gonna pass here, and we'll discard our Smash and Burn to maximum hand size. That's a-okay. Kind of want to play this Fire Shaman, but I usually like to save the Fire Shaman for when the 3 damage does something. Like if we can play this Fire Shaman plus our Kong or our Rampaging Worm. We have been a bit behind this game. We're lower on health, and we have the same number of cards in hand, but I think we're in a good spot. I think our opponent was trying to set up something, and we blew them out of it. Now they're going to have to try and set up again. So, I mean, honestly, let's just play the Rampaging. Ooh, well, yeah, let's just play the Rampaging. Man, I'm kind of kind of in between playing War Machine and just attacking and Rampaging Worm. I'm going to play the Rampaging Worm. I'm going to deal 6 to that with Smash and Burn, and then deal 3 to it with Fire Shaman. I'm just going to attack with this. The only thing it's weak against is lying in wait. Otherwise, it's always correct to attack here. And faint. Nah, I think we're actually ahead, even though it doesn't look like it. I think our opponent has a hand of awkward cards right now. We're gonna see. There's that Medusa. That's fine. We are just gonna pass. What was it? What was revealed? It was Dark Knight Succubus. All right. This Ice Brick's gonna come in handy. The real question is, what do we do when they attack for 6 here? Probably gonna be take it, and then start our turn and Kong that. Kind of awkward though. Gonna be taking some damage. Had mean board, yeah. Well, yeah, the Rampaging Worm. I mean, I usually want to play this when my opponent's gold is down, but I just needed to activate the Fire Shaman and a Smash and Burn this turn. Didn't want to use the Kong there since it's almost definitely going to be better. Yeah, alright, the Ice Drake's going to be good here. Let's see if they attack immediately. Probably would not attack here. Yeah, they've definitely been making good plays. I don't think they've made a single misplay this entire game. It has been a long game. Yeah, I mean, they also got a 2-for-1 with Medusa. One of the best ways to get a 2-for-1 is Medusa, because it's the only champion that removes, and it's, well, I mean, I guess you don't really count Avenger. I don't count the, what's it called? It's the only ambush champion, really, that can remove a champion, and it's also a champion. So, there is, I'm not sure where it went. Anyway, there's one 8/8 4 gold ambush that is good, that can banish a champion that's dealt damage to you, but usually you have to take a lot of damage to banish it, whereas Medusa is really good against stuff like Rampaging Worm. Yeah, Avenger of the Covenant, yeah, that's it. Yeah, very, very good, just base card. Depends, I mean, I think it's a very safe card to run. It's hard to use it wrong because usually it requires you to spend your gold first, but you get so much value out of it that it's really good. Anyway, but usually you're going to have to spend your gold to break an ambush champion, get this body out. In this case, the opponent got a lot from it because they got rid of this Rampaging Worm that I spent my gold on before they did. So they know about this War Machine and Hasty Retreat now. It's possible. Should have played War Machine instead of Rampaging Worm, but I really wanted to have Ice Drake up. The opponent also show for Succubus. They have a lot of Zealous Necromancer. I have a lot of evil cards. It's not looking great for us right now. I'm not sure what they're waiting on. I guess they're considering some 0-cost card. Or maybe they just left to go do something. I'm trying to think of what 0-cost card they would think about. Cape Troll. or Bodyguard. No, it wouldn't be Bodyguard. The only card I would consider playing right now is Cave Troll. Or I guess maybe a Recycle Zero. Maybe Faithful Pegasus or Ogre Mercenary. Yeah, it would. It doesn't really make sense to play Dark Knight here because, oh, there it is. Wow, it's aggressive. I'm just gonna take it, unfortunately. See if we die here. But I can't really afford to haste to retreat that, so it's unblockable. So if I haste to retreat it, I take 2 instead of 5 and they draw a card. I mean, instead of 7. So I'd be playing this as a gain 5 health my opponent draws a card, which I don't want to do right now. Probably going to have to gain health off of this Justice Prevails, which is going to be tricky. Might be doable. Right now they don't have lethal, strictly. Since this 7 will hit me and I'll go down to 3, and then this will hit me again next turn and I'll go down to 1. But I wouldn't hold it against them to have a, what's it called? I mean, they know I have this hasty retreat, so if they have a buff for that, then they can't choose to play here and expect to win. All right. It's interesting. Yeah, Justice Prevails will potentially, right now, if I play Brand then Justice Prevails on the opponent's turn, I can gain 14 off of it. So we might be able to gain 14 off of it. That would be very nice. Probably have to use Ice Drake as an attacker. I do need to actually deal damage to win. Let's War Machine and then pass. I think that's the play. We're just gonna play Zealous Necromancer, but I want them to actually play it before I attack. Return to the owner's hand. That would be pretty funny. Yeah, it's one of those cards that got past the oh, I guess they're gonna Plague us. Yeah, they're gonna shoot Ice Drake and then play Plague. Oh, wait, they can't play Plague. I don't know what they're doing there. Are they playing around Justice Prevails? Crazy. Oh wait, they could have just won. All right, they could have just won there. They just could have used it to deal 7 to us. So I think that that they're just trolling a little bit. No, the Fires of Rebellion's other mode is to deal 7 to each opponent. So I think that they're doing that on purpose. All right, yeah, we'll place Constructor. Let's see what we have for decks here. Let's just see what I want to play first. Did we play games with that bounce deck last time? I feel like we played at least 1 game with this, right? Did we play 2 games with it? Yeah, I think we played quite a few. Don't have super long. I can play 1 more game, even though I should be ending. I only played 1 game, so I'll play another one. I can just grab one of these other ones that I have built, but I haven't played with yet. Like, well, one's a bit slow. Well, I mean, I'll play the bounce deck. It's fine. Definitely when I played last stream, but I'll get in 1 more game with it, since I usually just play with the same deck until I don't, and I make a new one. All right. Let's see what we got. All right. So, for example, in this hand, I'll talk about mulligans. So, We're going first, and the second player always mulligans first. So sometimes I'll take the opponent's mulligan into consideration. For example, if they don't mulligan anything, then or if they mulligan one, I guess if they mulligan one, I just assume their hand's amazing. But when I say amazing, I mean they have a card they really want that has loyalty 2, and they have another card they really want. So like a T-Rex with 2 other green cards, and also a good off-turn play like a Draka's Enforcer or something, or maybe it's not a good example, like a Drain Essence, like if it was a Raging T-Rex, 2 wild cards, Drain Essence, and then some recycle, they might mulligan the recycle card. If they mulligan their entire hand, then in this case, if they mulliganed all 5, I would just assume that they didn't have a single off-turn play in their hand that cost a gold. So going first, I usually keep a good on-turn play if I can. I'm going first. So this Steel Golem's great. It's a great on-turn play, and I have the 2 cards for loyalty 2. So I need to keep both of these blue cards so that I can actually loyalty this. I'm going to toss the Plague because the first mode uses recycle, so I don't want that in my opening hand. And this Guilt Demon I'm also going to toss. I don't need it. I mean, it could be fine if our opponent is on some kind of psionic assault plan, but I'd rather just have a good off-turn play like a Thought Plucker or Memory Spirit or something like that. So I'm going to toss the Guilt Demon as well. Alright, we're going to play this Steel Golem, and usually when I have 2 of the same card, that's what I show. So I'm just going to show these Helions, and I always just immediately attack with my Steel Golem. The reason I always immediately attack with Steel Golem, unless my opponent already has a blocker in play, is because a card like Ice Drake that expends all of your champions, if you pass, then they can do that. It's just a card that's really hard to play something bigger in front of. So it would be very difficult for fella in here to play more than at least 13 offense ambush. They could blow me out, but I don't want to pass and just let them spend their gold to not take 13 and draw a card, basically. Alright. I think a lot of decks are unprepared for Steel Golem. This is a reason why you'd hold on to something like Guilt Demon in your hand. If I was going second, I would actually hold on to the Guilt Demon, because I really like having a 0 cost, something that is cost 0 that I can toss in the way of a big blitz champion. Not that that strategy is super common, playing things like Steel Golem and Rampaging Worm, but you can definitely lose to them. Another really good answer to Steel Golem would be Wave of Transformation or Zombie Apocalypse. Those are both very good against Steel Golem, since they both remove it and give us a token. Is there a power budget? Could you elaborate more, Cash, about what a power budget is? Do you mean how many 1-cost cards you want for your in your draft deck or something like that? You're talking about constructed, maybe? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, you could say that. I mean, it's hard to say what a vanilla 1-cost card would look like, because in Epic, things can get removed so easily. I mean, this is a perfect example of what you would call a power budget card. I don't think that you could make a 1-cost card with Untargetable and loyalty 2 Blitz that was bigger than this. I think that this card's already quite good. Like Lurking Giant, that's an ambush 11/11 for gold, is probably not super pushed, right? Basically, it's not crazy, it doesn't do anything, it doesn't replace itself, it doesn't have any kind of protection. So even if the stats were bigger, Right, it does buy an 18-18 with breakthrough, but I think that an 18-18 with breakthrough is considered to be a card that is okay. It doesn't see any play in constructed at all, I would say, and also it isn't really a card that I want in any limited deck because it doesn't replace itself and it can't do anything right away, and it doesn't make multiple bodies. It doesn't have any effect on the board. Sometimes your opponent can actually just have more than 18 power and defense on board, and then it can't even attack properly, and they get so much time to deal with it. So honestly, the 18-18 breakthrough, I'm not sure. The thing is, I'm not sure how big you could make the 18-18 breakthrough and have it still be fair, because if it was huge, if it was like a 30-30, right, just as an example, then you would just you could just play surprise. If you surprise attacked it or final tasked it or jungle queened it out or something like that, then it would ruin your day. So all right, we're just going to take this 6 here. Not sure if we want to draw 2 or if we want to play Helion here. Probably going to Helion, I'm not sure. Be interesting to see what the opponent's plan is. I'm not sure what it is right now. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We're going to play Helion. And let's also reveal this reset. I want to keep the War Machine a secret. We're going to use it on the Helion. And then that'll give this Blitz. Deal 2 damage, doesn't really matter. I'll just do it like this in case they want to Flash Fire plus Feeding Frenzy my Helion. So that way Flash Fire will kill the Little Devil. Very specific play around, but it doesn't really matter what I deal 2 damage to also. Yeah, I mean, anything that seems stupid is just because you have like, nothing is really stupid in my opinion. There's really just plays that there's not like things that seem stupid are just because you've already figured out why it's dumb or why it doesn't make sense to make that play. Not just in gaming, but in general. Alright, so here we have lethal. So the reason I played this Helion, I decided to go with Helion, was because I was kind of considering whether it's better for me to play this Helion now or if I want to refill my hand more. I decided to go with the Helion play because it makes this Steel Golem lethal, so it has to be dealt with or they die. Could block with Brachiosaurus here. I would be perfectly fine with that. That means this card is effectively killing the Brachiosaurus. Alright. I'm going to get in with this Shadow Imp then. See what happens here. The Shadow Imp twice plus the War Machine is lethal, so we can attack with Shadow Imp, then War Machine to banish the Little Devil, give the War Machine Blitz, and then attack with it. Probably. Alright. Turn Shadow Imp to hand. Banish the Little Devil. Reveal Shadow Imp, and the opponent knows about reset, so we'll also reveal that. Or they know about the second Helion, so I'll just reveal that. Now, I could play around something by not attacking with the War Machine here, but usually if it gives me lethal, then I don't let my opponent, I don't give my opponent the benefit of the doubt. If Felrin here didn't have an answer, and I passed, they would just start their turn, because they know I have lethal in hand. Yeah, mistakes are learning, exactly. Exactly. Savage Uprising to deal 9 to each, I guess. And then maybe a Flame Spike or something. Amnesia, alright. Digging. Guess they want something that deals damage to this. Or an ambush blocker. Alright, I think that's going to be game, but we'll see. Alright, yeah, that's it. Good game. Alright, so I'm just going to call it. I am going to be doing shorter streams for at least for a little while. We'll see how it goes. But for now, it'll be 8 to 9, same days. Otherwise, good game, Valorant, and I'll be giving both of these people will be getting some gems. And I'm just gonna give BMC Fluff the 100 gems because, let's be honest, they won. I think they were just trying to BM or troll or something, but they definitely got that. So anyway, thank you and have a good. He was unbeatable. It's true. He really just. We can even watch the replay here. He had it for sure. I dealt 1 damage to him effectively. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'll put the discard. Let me just grab it. I don't have it on this computer. I'll grab my other. I'll post it in chat. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see, we got Discord. Epic. All right. I can figure out how to. All right. Oh, sorry. I guess that's not the right one. I thought this would work, but I haven't actually checked it. Okay, I just spelled it wrong, I guess. QT. Oh, my bad. Can I edit that? It's the same thing, but oh, I put in an extra T by accident. Discord.gg/qtjgter. Alright, there we go. That should fix it. Alright. Alright. Anyway. Good night. Good luck. Thanks. Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. I'm gonna update that Google Sheet and I'll post it in the Facebook one of these days. And that'll at least be the holdover until I figure out a way to actually put it in the Twitch somewhere. I think that would be better than this. Yeah, random 30 for sure. All right, good night.